So what's up, y'all? We are live with the man, the myth, the legend, Grand Rapids' own Jeremiah White. What's going on, sir?
What's up? 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 What's up?
Man, you got some amazing things going on, and I feel like the city needs to know what's happening.
You do. You know what, Daryl? You've always been consistent with trying to get what's in me out of me, and I really appreciate that. You've always said that. You've always said like people need to know the behind the scenes or what's happening or who I am and how do I make this work and just all that stuff. People need to know. They need to know. They need to know. And first of all, I'm honored that you believe that I have something to say, which I do know that I do, but that you've always commanded my voice to be heard. And I'm honored that you asked for that. So I'm ready to give you I'm ready to give it all today. I'm ready to give it to you.
Okay, so let's start off with, where are we right now?
You know, we're sitting up in we're sitting up in the space where we're going to make dreams come true. This is where the experience of the Barber and Beauty School will happen. This has been something that's been kind of on my mind for years. When I got out of high school, I was going to go teach. I was going to be a special education teacher. I went to community college for about little over a year, and then I transferred to the community college in Ypsilanti, and then I was going to school to be a special education teacher. What? Yes, I was going to be a special education teacher. And it was dope. I really thought that I was going to teach. I thought that was my calling. I wanted to do it, and I came home because I needed a break. And I wanted to help my brother with his transition from his last year of high school into college. That's what I wanted to do, and I decided through the nudge of one of my friends to go on to beauty school, which was crazy. She was like, I just finished. I think you would be great doing hair and all these things. And I'm like, I never was doing hair. Like, how you just gonna just think I should be doing hair? But I had an aunt and uncle that had a beauty shop and a barber shop that did hair. And honestly, I believed that I could do hair. I kind of liked it. But I never played in it, but I kind of liked it. Got there, making a long story short, and I feel like those were my people. I was like, these are my cousins, these is my family, these are my people, all up in here. I saw the creatives, all of that. So I asked my father, I said, hey, can I go to beauty school? He was like, what? You know, he always told me he used to do Diana Ross hair and all of that stuff. He said all the stuff he used to do, but he was like, if you take a couple classes at Grand Valley, you can go to school during the day for hair, take a couple classes at Grand Valley as well, you can keep going. I did that, continued to do that, fast forward, get married, do all these things, and I continued to mentor through hair and or teach. People would stop through as the business grew and ask questions. You know, we always are teaching people through while we're doing stuff. Everybody in the salon industry, we're teaching people how you do this. You go to shows, you see people on platforms. So you're always kind of teaching through what you're doing. And I wanted to do a school. So how God should set something up is he's really funny. When we launched this school a few weeks ago, Facebook don't lie. The timestamp came up that it was 10 years ago, first week in April, when I first was getting ready to do a barber school with another partner, and it popped up on a Facebook memory, the flyer and everything, and I was like, this is funny. I'm getting ready to launch at the same time, the same season, and do a school again. And I was like, wow. I didn't even know it was the same time. I didn't know it was the same thing. I didn't know anything about it. And it just made me chuckle like, God, you were really funny. You keep me in the same season of when you want me to do something. And this time I was supposed to do this with another person in another way, and it didn't work out again. And I just keep saying, why do these things not work out with people? And it's not always a bad thing, because it's not like I fall out with people. It just doesn't really work out the way that we planned it to work out. But it full circle brought me back to teaching, a school where I thought God wanted me to teach in the K through 12 atmosphere that I was going to school with, but he would have me to open up a school to teach in this atmosphere. So, I took you a long route to say that sometimes it's the long route. It's the long route. That was, I've been married 32 years, so that was probably 35 years ago I was going to school to teach. 35 years he brings me back to open up my own school to teach. So it's the different way. So I'm still going to be educating people and teaching people in a different way. And I had to learn a lot of things myself in order to present it and to teach it in a different way. So I said, don't worry about how he gonna bring you back to what you gotta do. Just stick to the plan, and he'll bring you back to and make it all make sense. And so I think God, for me, he's taken me the long way to make it all make sense. And so, yeah, I'm gonna be a teacher with my own school. Yeah.
All right. Fire. But you fast forwarded through so many years of relevant Grand Rapids history. So I gotta go back, Jerry. I gotta go back.
Take me back.
Walk me through reflection. Walk me through from the moment you knew that you wanted to start Reflections and the journey to how we got to the mega beast that Reflections is today.
So I started off working with my friend who told me to go to beauty school, who basically said, you should go. And, my homegirl, Monique Simmons, we worked together for about 4.5 years. Gave me so much foundation with what I wanted. Such a great business mind. She and her husband were, just walked me through what they were doing, and didn't make me feel, there wasn't a lot of limitations on what I could do and how I could do it. So I saw what they did, and I was able to just kind of be free and work. And that was good for me. Just getting married and all those things. But I saw probably year 3 that it was going to end, that I needed to do something different. And I didn't know how to break away from somebody that helped me, that told me to go to school, that I was working with, and we were all making good money and nothing was wrong. And that's the crazy thing. How do you leave somebody when nothing's wrong and everybody's making money and everything's going great, but you know that you're supposed to do something different? And that was probably the hardest thing that I had to do, is tell her that I'm going to move out on my own. And I did it. And I was driving past this building every day on the corner of Hall and Fuller. Y'all know it was Mr. Smoothies. It used to be the grocery store. What was it called? Veltman's. Ooh, they used to have good meat up in there. Yup, sure did. It was a clothing store, and now they got now it's a bakery. And you know, when the city gives other people help and money to do things, which they didn't do it to me. Let's just be straight up honest, since we're doing an honest interview. Yeah. When the city gives other people money to do things that they weren't giving me to do the things, they're able to reface and rediscover and do things and change the environment of the community that they weren't giving it to the people that were in the community before. They can do a little bit differently, but we occupied that busy corner for several years, and we renovated that space. That was absolutely amazing. It was my first start. I'm not going to give you the name of the man that helped fund that project, but he was absolutely amazing in starting that for me. And it changed my life. Reflections totally changed my life. And my goal was to change the lives of others. And I think that's the biggest piece I want everyone to know, is that when you go into something, your intentions is to lead, changing the lives of people, and not be selfish. I never got into this to make money only for me. I never got in this trying to just be like, what can I do for me? I got into this business always trying to make change for the people that work with me. And it was never like who works for me, it's who works with me. And I wanted to make a Black Panopolis. I wanted Black women to come in and feel like they can talk about the place that they get their hair service the way white women talk about the place that they get service. They can come in and say, I go there. Oh yeah, girl, I go there. Oh yeah, I go there. I'm there. And they get service, and they get all of these things done, and they feel a sense of pride, just like white women did when they went to the places that they went. And they're served and have service the same way. Did we meet that all the time? No. But did we always try to meet those expectations? Yes. And when we extended it, when we had barbers and all of that, we just really tried to be an upstanding place where people could come and get service. And then we did it again. Woo! Woo! And then we did it again. And when we went to Madison, that was scary. That was really scary. We took an old car wash and made, before they were doing suites, before they were doing mixed-use buildings, God showed me inside of my head this was something I wanted to do. It was bigger than me. A friend of mine named Michael Essex, he was a builder, and I said, Mike, I need to do something great with this building. It was called C&J Plaza. I named it after my wife's father, Curtis, and my father, Jeremiah. So Reflections 5001 is Reflections. The 5001 is actually, my mother was born in 50 and died in 01. She died the day before the bombing in New York City, the 9/11. So it's crazy how 9/11 was so big for everybody. Everything happened at 9/11. Well, the day before 9/11, my mother died. So that whole thing super and overshadowed her death. But I didn't want to name it Pat's. So you go, where you going to Pat's? Yeah. And so I wasn't going to call Reflections Pat's. I was like, Mom, I love you, but we ain't going to Pat's. So me and my sister-in-law came up with Reflections, and I was like, but how do I honor my mother without being Pat's? I'm just like, girl, you the girl, but we ain't going to Pat's. We need something a little more classier than that. So you know how you have the trademark. So we did the 5001. And so that followed me. And so when we were doing the next thing, I was like, how do we honor, because my mother's dead. And so I was with my wife for several years then. And I'm like, so this is our thing. So I'm like, how do I honor her father? And I was like, I can't keep just doing everything just for me. So the C&J Plaza became Curtis. And then my dad was alive. So I know he was like, well, hell, you gonna keep honoring all these dead people? I mean, I'm up in this bug. I've been painting and lifting shit. What we gonna do for me? He didn't say it, but I know that's what he was feeling, because I know my daddy. He'd be like, your mama dead, her daddy dead, and I'm around here. What you gonna do for me? So we did Curtis and Jerry. So nobody really ever knew what the C&J Plaza was stood for. So the C&J was Curtis and Jeremiah. That's what that plaza was named after. So we created suites then, years. And I don't even know if suites were happening then. And those were, in that was a recording studio, there was a nail shop, there were stores in the front. We had a salon, and I had a winding staircase to go up to my office, glass. It was a glass rail. You could look down. I was looking down like Nino Brown. Yup, I sure was. It was dope. I mean, we had a little break room in the back, and it was like crazy. And I plumbed upstairs because I was going to do apartments upstairs, because on Hall Street there was apartments upstairs. It was a spooky basement too. Nobody wanted to go downstairs and wash their towels. They was like, it's spooky down there. I said, well, hell, we're going to put this wash machine down here because we're not ordering no towels. We're not having no towel delivery. So I had to go in the spooky basement. Yes, we did the spooky basement. But that was phase 2, and then we had a third location. I don't know if people remember that. So on Wealthy Street, where Daryl had 40 acres, there was also a salon over there where Tanya used to have the store, the wig store. She had the salon and stuff like that. And before they closed the salon, I took over the salon for a quick moment. Because I wanted 3. Because House of Style was the only person that had 2 or 3 salons, and I said I was trying to just make a move and that was when I was like in my thing. I was like, I want 3, and I only did that just to have 3. So I took over that lease, and I had 3. So I had Wealthy Street, I had Madison Street, and I had Hall Street, Hall and Fuller. That was crazy. And that was in my 30s. And I did not know that, I think that's the crazy thing. I didn't know it. I think when you're working in a business and you're working it, I didn't know. I didn't know that I was the guy. I didn't know I was the guy. I won so many business awards and neighborhood association awards, and I won a Giants award, and I'm thankful for that. I'm on the Giants committee now, so I know so much more about that, and my appreciation level then was great, but now I appreciate it so much more because I know the shoulders that I stand on, and I know the hard work that we all did to be in the community and have the jobs that we have. And so I was working so hard to make a difference and to keep the things, because that's the other thing. Once you get them, you got to keep them, and that's the stuff. Nobody tells you about that. Like, obtaining things is one thing, but keeping things is another, and that's the piece that works you more than anything. And so the keeping of the things became really hard, and that I wrote a book on called Bounce Back, because there was a bankruptcy through all those things. And that's a whole nother piece, Daryl, that was a broken area, but God will bless you through bankruptcy too. So you got to stay faithful through it all. And I think once you realize why, what your mission and what your purpose is and why you do what you do, you can move through it all and navigate through it all. And I realized I never let the money make me. I was never made by the money. My concern was still the people. My concern was still that we be great and we put out a good product and we do what we're supposed to do. So I just said on to the next. And I put my head down and I stayed focused on who was focused on me, and we just moved right on. And honestly, what was so crazy is it seemed like my knees just got scraped. People was like, damn, dude, did anything happen to you? I feel like my knees got scraped. Externally, but internally, I was bruised up. I was really bruised up. So, yeah. I don't know, I gave you a lot of information.
Yeah, and I love it because we're really talking through the history, and I think that matters. Because when students walk through the door, they need to know the heritage of what they're walking into.
Right.
So talk me through, you got 3 locations, life is happening. How did we get here?
So 3 locations was absolutely fantastic. Life happens. We got here because I filed for bankruptcy. So filing bankruptcy doesn't mean you lose everything. Let me tell you that. There's chapters, whatever chapter you decide to file. So when I filed for bankruptcy, I love to get to tell my side of the story. Don't get me wrong, that's I was trying to decide if I was going to cuss or not. It's a very hard time because I had 6 properties when I filed for bankruptcy. So they took all the equity out of my properties. So what happens is it's just a property then. And what I was doing is saving all the equity in the properties. So down the line I could sell them. And I think that the most disheartening fact for me is, I almost got emotional, is I always kept 2 that were gonna stay in they were in my girls' name. So one was Jalen and one was Amber. Destiny, I was gonna get one for you. I promise. One was gonna be in your name. It really was. And now, hell, you the strongest one. I should have put all of them in your name. And I'm gonna say that on the thing because you are right now my strongest return on investment. I know the rest of y'all gonna try to catch up to it, but they were in Jalen and Amber's name, and so my plan was I was saving money, but I was investing money into what I was doing. So that was going to be my return on my investment. So all of my dollars was going on. I was banking on myself and banking on my future in these investments because real estate is a great investment for your future, right? So when my kids graduated from high school and they were ready to go to college or they were ready to get married, I was like, hey, you can move into this house. It would either be paid for or you can pull out the equity and use it for your first house, do whatever you wanted to do. So at that point, your daddy would give you $100,000, whatever the case may be, depending on the time it would be, here is your house. And that was how I was gonna start wealth for my children. That's how I was gonna have my retirement set up for my wife and I. And when they took all the equity out of my stuff, I was like, that just took me out. So now I'm sitting with a property that meant nothing to me. And then when you've been working on great credit all this time, and then your credit changes, and the interest rate, because this was during the mortgage crisis, so the interest rates go up, that means the payments going up and all of that. I was like, you can have this shit. I don't need it. So then the bank takes the houses back. So the house I was living in, now this is where the issue came in. I had lived in like 3 or 4 houses, and each time the house got better. And what was crazy is I lived on a subdivision, really nice house. And my neighbor across the street, I believe he thought I was a drug dealer. He went back and forth asking me how I was so young, my wife and I, and we had friends and stuff like that. On the low, I believe he thought I was a drug dealer. He kind of played with that idea sometimes. And when they put the note on my door to tell me that we had like 90 days or something that we needed to be out, that was the hardest part for me. Because I went back and forth with the mortgage company about staying there. And the interest rate was going to go up on that. Now, it was going to go up so high that I was going to end up paying probably $900 more a month for the house that I was paying for before. But I was going to do it because I could afford it. See, that's the other thing people don't realize. I could afford it. I was driving a Range Rover. I don't remember what my wife was driving. Great house. I could afford a $900 increase in the house payment. It would have been tight, but versus having to move. But they wouldn't lock in that mortgage rate. So I'm like, will it go up again or will I stay there? they wouldn't tell me. They wouldn't let me know. So paper goes on the door. I didn't know. Of course, I'm working late. My wife says, we got to be out in 90 days. No, maybe it was 60 days. So I knew 2 people to call who I knew leased houses. Called the first person. They said, oh my God, I just leased my house out last week. I would have loved to lease a house out to you. And they had a very nice house in Kentwood, good size. We were in Kentwood then, and they just leased it out. I called another friend of mine who lived in Forest Hills, and they were like, for you, yes, anything. We're in, because there was a house market crash. They're like, well, we want this house in Ada. We need to get rid of our house to get this house in Ada because they lost it on foreclosure. So if you get in our house here in Forest Hills, we can get this house in Ada. So this house was better than my house. This is why I said he's a restorer. So I decided to take their house, which was better than my house. So it looked like a come up. So we moved from Kentwood to Forest Hills in the same transition of my kids going to, I think, 7th or whatever. It was in a transitional age, so it was good. So my kids ended up going to Forest Hills. We move into this house. We're leasing this house. If someone asked me, I would have told them. But everybody just thought I was buying another house. I was like, if you don't, which is so crazy. I'm not really the secret keeper. I don't feel like all my business is all y'all damn business. Let's just be honest. But I'm not a secret keeper like that. But it's not your business. But I'm not a secret keeper. But so I leased this house from a friend of mine, and it blessed my soul because I just went right back there because my family we've never lived in an apartment. My wife and I bought a house the year before we got married. So our honeymoon, our first night when we got married, we stayed in the house that I bought us the year before we got married. So to think that I would have had to move into an apartment and we never ever lived in an apartment would have been absolutely asinine. So we were able to get into this house. It was an up. So our lives kept going up, even though it felt like it was going down. You know what I'm saying? But what I couldn't do was keep the Range Rover. I was leasing a Range Rover, and she was leasing a car. And I said, God, I can't keep these cars. I can't keep these cars. I just said, this just does not seem like, it just doesn't seem right. So I went, and I always lease from the same person. I went to the guy and I said, listen, I got to bring these cars back. And it's so crazy. I got this lease. I wrote it on, I came back from a retreat. We had a dream board. I wrote on the dream board, I wanted a Range Rover. And I went to, I mailed car payments in back then. I decided to go take a car payment in. I went in, took the car payment in, and I came out. There was a Range Rover outside. I went to the guy and said, I like that Range Rover. He said, hey. He said, I just got that back off a 2-year lease. I said, oh, that's really nice. I said, I want that. He was like, you can have it if you want. I said, well, my lease isn't up. He said, but you can have it if you want. I took that car home, and I looked back in the back seat, and I pulled my dream board out. That same day, that was on a Monday. We did the retreat on the weekend. I pulled the dream board out. It was still in my back seat. The dream board was there, and the Range Rover was right there. In the next 4 years, so I'm gonna go back in there because I'll be jumping. So I took both cars back, and I went and paid cash for a Tahoe and a Navigator. Nobody knew that my Tahoe door, I had a bungee cord holding that damn door together for a while driving it. It was bungeed around the thing. If I turned too fast, the door would swing open. My wife's Navigator, shocks was going bad. We drove them till the wheels fell off. Because I just don't perp. Either we can do it or we can't do it. And I was like, I live close to my job, live close to church. We do what we do. And the difference was when we went out of town, I learned something about credit cards. I was like, dang. I remember people saying they take so much of your money in your credit card when you're renting a car and you're flying away. And I had great credit. I had like a $50,000 line of credit, and I had like $50,000 on my credit card limit. So I was kind of spoiled, and I didn't realize until you get these credit cards with $1,000 on it after bankruptcy. So you go rent a car and they hold 500, and you be like, oh, that was a part of my trip. You held 500, what the hell? I was going to use that, And I used to hear people say that in the back of my mind. All of the stories came back up when I was at the car rental place. All of the stuff that I used to hear people fussing at the thing, I was like, oh, this is what they used to say. And I used to hear. And I was like, oh, this ain't right. I would have budgeted different. So it was crazy, but my kids didn't know. Because I bought a timeshare 10 years before that was paid for, that didn't have to go into bankruptcy. So we would just go back to Florida for 3 years. And they didn't know. And we would fly Spirit and get on them $49 flights and go back to the timeshare. My kids were young enough, and we play in the pool, We go downtown Disney and we go play in them damn balls and walk around and get an ice cream cone. And they thought it was the best thing in the world. They didn't realize we weren't going to that park. We gonna go there, but we're not going to that park this time, And so you have to be creative. They still gonna get on the plane, but they wasn't gonna be on Delta. They're gonna be on Spirit, So you just have to be creative. And I'm telling you the truth because I want you to know that the road is not always easy, but you got to push through the road, and you can't let nothing stop you. And I know that God can make things look easy for me, but this stuff broke me down, and that's why. So we ended up here because I let it go. Because I was like, this is stressing me out. So let them all go, moved into, I leased the house, and I was like, I looked at the building and I said, guys, I got to let this building go, and I got to find another place, and I can't take everybody with me. And I found the place on 2650 East Beltline, and I think there was only 6 of us that could go, 5 besides myself. And that's where it all started. And that's what started this next phase of my life, which changed my life and became the next best part of my life. And yeah. Agree? Ooh, because I felt it.
That's good, and the reason I wanted to give so much of your backstory is because every student that's going to come to you is coming with a backstory.
Yeah.
But
see, and I'm talking to the entrepreneur too. It's students, but I just be wanting these niggas to know, and the people that are doing it like y'all, and who are still doing it. This stuff is real.
Yeah.
Even after 10 years, even after 15 years, you can still get swamped and get stuck, and it can hit you. But you got to push, and you got to save for a rainy day, because it's going to rain. It's really going to rain. And you better not eat all your money up. You got to put some away, because they're not giving us nothing. As a self-employed person, back in the day, you could do stated income. That's out. They're not letting you state nothing. So you better claim something these days. You better show that you're making some money. If you really want something, if you really want to make a difference and you want something out of life besides a car, you got to state some income. You go ahead.
Let me tap into that, because A lot of people might look at a barber school and they getting their hustle on. They getting bundles of cash in the basement at auntie house. They meeting people at their house, cutting hair on the porch. And why is it important to get licensed and get legit with this?
It's like anything else. People are only going to respect you as long as you respect yourself in the business that you're doing. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a teacher, and he's like, and he shedded a light on this whole thing that I forgot. So, and I'll be honest, through the process of owning salons and suites, so it's probably been about 27 years that I've been owning, 27 years that I've owned salons and or suites. I have had some unlicensed people who have worked for me. I have gotten people licensed that have worked for me. But I do understand the difference, because, and what the person made me understand is they're cheapening our craft. Why am I paying to go to school and letting the person across the street from me cut and not pay? Because what I had to do and what I had to pay for this, and watching them get paid their dollar and they put nothing into it, is not fair. You not paying taxes on your money is not going to help you later, because when it comes time to get Social Security, which may or may not be left later, because people argue about that, you're going to have some money. Social Security going to be here. It's just how much you're going to get, okay? But if you're not putting nothing in, you ain't going to get nothing out. It's just the way it is. But if you have no other job that you've done, you have nothing to show for it, then you're really just a drug dealer. And that's the way they treat you. You can't even use cash like that to just purchase certain things, because you've got to have a paper trail of where this money comes from. How you just deposit money in the bank, you have to show for where this is coming from. And so I'm just like, we forget that this industry builds mega $1 million industry. It's a mega $1 billion industry. Like, I was thinking the other day, like the people that follow the hairdressers to all of our entertainers, most of them are licensed cosmetologists and or barbers or estheticians or makeup artists. Oprah Winfrey's hairstylist is a licensed person. People that follow Beyonce, any of the entertainers in the industry, most of these people are licensed people that have done this. If you want to be a platform artist, entertainer, most of these people have gotten a license from some place. Yes, they were good, but it has to follow a paper. It has to follow a paper. And I'm just saying, don't let your gift not take you into places that you want to go because you didn't do the work. Because most of us come with a talent that is absolutely amazing, but we won't do the next step, which is get that license. And it's easy to do, and you make enough money to pay for it yourself. And most of us are waiting for the government to give us some money. When you really make enough money, you just have to budget yourself and pay for it, because you got to pay the government back anyway, most of the time. It's just a deferred payment, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. When if you can pay it up front, divide that money and make that payment, and when you're done, be through with it and everything's done, and you can eat. Just do it. Do it. And move forward, and let when we say your gift will make room for you, your gift will make room for you. You just have to make room for your gift. And stop selling yourself short. And that's working in the basement, working in your garage. Because you can work and be an on-call barber and go to people's house and demand a big ticket because I'm a licensed person. I'm a licensed professional. Where was I just at? I was just someplace. Where was I just at? Oh, somebody just told me. I was just someplace and somebody was getting a haircut. They said they did not work. They were cutting someone's hair and they had another person to go cut their hair. And they said, oh yeah, I got to go cut someone's hair. And they were 20 minutes away, but it was a haircut for $175. And I was just like, oh. I said, maybe I should start cutting again. So I'm just saying, it's gonna take a little time out your day. It's gonna be a little work. It's gonna pull you out of your comfort zone. And sometimes we don't think it's worth it, but it is worth it. It is worth it. We feel like we don't want to pay them taxes, but it's worth it. When they ask for paperwork for you to buy a house, when they ask for paperwork for you to sign for a loan for something you might need, to buy a car, to buy anything of money, of something, anything over $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, they're gonna want some paperwork or some kind of collateral of some sort. Taxes. They want to see how you made this money. Just do it. If you don't have another source of income, let's make that happen.
All right, Jerry. So these students coming through your door, you got people who have been side hustling, but you also got people who just been on the fence about doing hair. Should they do this? It's a secret passion. They ain't even been able to tell nobody. Talk to them about what the life is like. What types of challenges, once you're licensed, should you expect in this field, as well as what are the good days like?
So some of you guys are deciding if this is something you should really do. Some of y'all shouldn't do it because you're really not that good. And it's just not going to work for you because you're not even a people person. You really just don't like people like that. And I feel bad. And it would be easy for me to say, just do it. No, because you're going to waste your time and your money. I just got to be honest. Because I'm not in it to just take your money. I'm not. I'm in it to build people who want to be in this business because we can feel it. The clients can feel it. It's such a relationship with people. And the crazy thing is you don't got to be the best at what you do. You don't got to be the best hairdresser in the business because I never thought I was the best hairdresser at Reflections, and I owned it. No. Oh, I did some things great. Oh, but I wasn't the best. I could go down the line. I used to. I'm going to talk about two people real quick. I used to look at Albert doing hair and be in amazement. I used to be like, how did your mind even create the things that you create? How do you even know how to grab hair the way you grab hair, to curl hair and to change it and to move it? I would look at Carrie. I told Carrie, she was my white friend from school. I said, Carrie, you're being punished. She was like, what? I said, you probably got smart and got out of line when God was spray painting us black. And you got out of line, and you were supposed to be black, spray painted black, and he kept you in the white body. And now you're trapped, because you're the baddest and the coldest white girl I ever met in my life. But I would watch her do hair and be like, Care, you are so cold. I would look at Brandy. I'm not gonna even drop no more. Brandy, congratulations! You just opened your own space in Detroit. Congrats! I mean, mad kudos. And I don't want it. Monica, girl, you was curling your ass off forever. I used to be like, Monica, if you do one more thing, you are not on the platform. Tina, you was always cold. Oh, y'all, I mean, I am just, everybody is going through my mind, and I don't want to say nobody else because y'all gonna be like, you didn't say me, you didn't say me, you didn't mention me. I just have had some fantastic people who have worked with Reflections and who have made just a phenomenal impact in my life. And what I can say is they couldn't beat me servicing my people though. So you have to figure out what you do best and you just work the hell out of that. And don't worry about what somebody else does better. Some people can color great, some people can cut great, some people can curl good, some people can weave good. Ooh, some people can wave good. Sean is a waver, but Sean, my girl, Sean, I got people now, that they're braiders, it's just so many, it's so many. And I gotta give out a shout out, my last shout out, and I'm not gonna say nothing about nobody else, because I don't want to, but Mark Randall was my guy. So Mark Randall helped me manage Hall and Fuller. If I tell you I could not have done it without him, because along the way, everybody needs somebody to help them. And when I was doing Hall and I was doing Madison and I was doing Wealthy and I was going on vacation, you need somebody to help you. You need somebody to help you. And you need somebody that holds it down just like it's their own. And he held it down like it was his. Like people would think it was his. We would meet in the morning sweeping. We would meet in the morning shoveling snow. And I did that when I was with Monique. And so how do you know it's time to get your own? When you beating the owner at work. When you don't mind doing the job that the owner does. When you sweeping up like it's your own. How do you know it's time to get a suite? When you don't mind picking up and his coffee's out and you buying coffee. And you see the owner needs help and you're doing stuff and you're helping them and you're just like, I can do this. When you kick in when nobody's asking you to kick in and you feel that nudge on your back, maybe it's time for you to jump into doing something on your own. And so those are some of the things that gave me the push that said, maybe it's time for me to do something on my own. And that's when you know the guy's telling you, I think it's time. And so going to school, it sharpens your skills into hair and into customer service. Going to my school is going to strengthen you. When you get done with all of that, when you come here, we're going to build you up so strong that you're not going to be worried about all that stuff. Whatever it is, what we're looking for is what I'm looking for is trying to sharpen the skills that you already have. But it's just not about hair. See, because there's a journey that I've been on. And so I want to make sure I got qualified teachers that are going to make sure all of that stuff is taken care of with hair. But I'm going to step in and make sure you know how to invest. I'm going to make sure some of that money is being put away right. I'm going to make sure that you customer serve good. We're going to roll that thing back and be like, how are you serving your people today? How are you making sure they're taken care of? How are you making sure that you're balancing work, life, and fun? Because you got to have fun. You got to make sure your family's being taken care of. You got to make sure that all of these things. And then like all of the other things that people are telling you about this business. Yes, social media is good. You got to make sure social media is good. But are you talking to people outside? Because we don't do that anymore. Because we're social media doing it all. But when you get out, are you telling people what you're doing? Do you talk about your business to people? So it's a back in the day and what we're doing now and what we did then. So I think we'll be a well-rounded school. I think our school is going to focus on all of the things because I want to take you back and bring you forward because real life just repeats itself. It's a cycle. It's a circle and a cycle of things. And so I don't want to throw all the old things out and not forget about them. I want to integrate those things. I want to make sure that your whole self is sharpened. I want to make sure that you bring your whole self to the party and that we try to teach your whole self how to do all this stuff. So you don't just walk out knowing how to do hair. That's not the only thing. If that was all we needed, everybody would be successful. But there are great hairdressers who don't know how to manage their money. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we want to make sure that that you know something about it. Now, whether you ever pull out a Roth IRA or you ever never invested your money, when somebody starts talking about a Roth IRA, you be like, Jerry told us about that. I just never did it. You start that thing right when you get out of school, when it's time to retire. Who cares about Social Security? Because we started a Roth IRA when we left Reflections Barber Beauty School. So that little money that y'all giving us, it's good. But we've been stacking chips since we got out of that school, and we can take care of ourselves. And we're going to make sure. That's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about. I don't know what else other schools are doing. I don't care. That's my truth. I really don't care what nobody else is doing because I can only focus on what God told me to do. And I'm going to make sure that we give you guys a well-rounded education. We know what the book says, but we also know what life says. And we're going to make sure you get some life stuff too.
Now, I ask this stuff people want to know.
Yes.
And throughout this process, I know you face some challenges.
Uh-huh.
But there's some real, we just gonna say pettiness going on in the city of Grand Rapids. I want you to talk through, because I'm sure this is not your first time experiencing pettiness of Grand Rapids. I want you to talk to the people and let them know while you're on your journey to be great, how do you not stop and swat at that dog that's biting at your ankles?
So truthfully, I really just don't do pettiness well. Because when I'm first of all, I'm really different. I really am. And this is really the truth. I don't know how I have such a forgiving spirit, and I really don't care, and I really don't have time. And I think because I travel so much, that I feel like it's enough to go around for everybody. So sometimes when people are petty, I just feel sorry for them. It's funny because I just be like, petty over me? And some of my friends be like, dude, you. And I said, but me? I feel like I work too hard to be anything. It's sometimes it's laughable. And I mean that respectfully, because as these other people do, I know they work too hard, and I'm usually a fan of people, because I do understand the backside of what it costs them and how hard it is for a minority business to be in business for some length of time. So I'm usually a fan of anybody that's been in business. So when anybody else has a different look on us, I'm usually just like, come on, y'all, can we just grow up? Can you just go out of town and look around and see that there's 20 more people doing what we do right next door to each other. Because when I drive down the street and see Wendy's, McDonald's, and Burger King, and Russ's, and all those restaurants next to each other, and they just smiling, and people just decide which one they want to eat that day. And some people eat one each and every other day. And so, yeah, I guess it's petty. It's just petty. So it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. I just, you know how they used to say, can we all just get along? I just wish it was that way. And I think I hate it more because it's our people. And it's just a shame that we've been taught and we've been brainwashed and we've been pre-wired to believe that we all can't eat. And I just think we all can eat. The heart of me is like, man, I wish, this is what I wish.
Talk to me.
I wish we all had a team. It's like, well, and we don't, because it's our damn president don't. I wish we all had a team of people that can say, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Say it to me. Don't say it to them. Say it. Just get it. You know, there's times I wanted to say something to my wife or something. I'll call a friend and be like, hey, ooh, don't say that. Say it to me. You done? Say it 3 more times. Say it 4 times. And then when I say it to my wife, I'll be like, hey, babe, I don't want to say that no more. You know, because you just need to get it off your chest. And there can be misconstrued things or things. And so I just think if we just, yeah.
Do you feel like that's a side effect of the social media age? You know, we're in call-out culture now. We're in, people kind of move like they can't be big unless somebody else is small. And your generation didn't really have that.
Maybe, yeah, maybe so. And it could be, because I need help posting. Shoot, I don't know how, I wanted to post something last night. I was like, I need my child to help me get this stuff together. And maybe so, I guess because I'm truly from my heart of hearts, I'm a cheerleader. So the only time I'm usually like, is if God told me to move on something and I didn't move. And I'm usually kicking myself in the butt because I was like, I've been dragging what he told me to let go of. But that's no one's fault but my own. But it's okay. I just want us to do better as a people. I want us to do better as a people. That's it. I just want us to do better as a people.
So to the point you just made, there's Burger King, there's Chick-fil-A right outside. Mm-hmm. You got Qdoba up the street. There's all these different options for the people. So what would you say to students who they want to come into this industry? They thinking about it, but it's saturated. And it's already too many people that do hair. Like, what would you say to that person who they got the potential, they got the vision for it, but they feel like there's no room for them? Encourage that person for me.
So I would say sometimes the market does seem like it's saturated. I hear you. But they don't have you. I think we got to remember that we always bring something a little different to the table. It's just something different to the table that we bring. The way we see things, the way we just the way we do things. It's just a little bit different to the table. And as there's people always coming into the field, there's also people always leaving the field. And so remember that. There's people that just got burnt out. There's people that just didn't last. There's people who don't like it. There's people that want to shift into a new career. There's people that are doing it in a different way. So yeah, I say do it. I say specialize in something, but I say don't only do that, because I think that's where it can like stifle, that can mess it up sometimes. If you only do wigs are great, but what happens when people start wearing natural hair again, or want their hair cut and curled? Like, long hair is in, but what if they start wearing, the next person comes in and they're doing a short hairstyle again, and they're wearing their own hair, and you never practice on doing short hair. So don't lock yourself only into something. You can specialize in this, but I can do a lot of this, but my specialty is this. And it's good to have a specialty, but it's good to know how to do some other things just in case, because the trends do change. And a lot of times, the professionals create the trends. The professional media people, they create the trends and what's new. And so if you let them create it all the time, then we'll always be chasing the next. But you gotta know a little bit about yourself and what you're good at. I think color is great. Color and cutting. If you can always color, and if you can always cut, that means you can color wig, you can color natural hair, you can color regular hair, you can cut wigs, you can cut natural hair, you can cut straight hair, you can cut relaxed hair, you can cut overly curly hair, permed hair, whatever. Those are skills and traits that will never leave you. So practice, know how to do those things. Those are skills that are forever moving. They'll last you for a lifetime. So practice things like that are lasting, and you can build up on. You can build on color, you can build on cutting, stuff like that.
So would you say, as far as a student goes, is it better? I'm gonna give you a scenario, and you tell me which scenario is better for a student of your school. Is it better to have a high skill level, styling, coloring, cutting, but a subpar attitude, or a die-hard attitude, but I don't really know what I'm doing? Which one is gonna serve me better? Or would neither serve?
Give me the one. Give me in the middle. Give me a middle.
Why?
Because people say you can teach the skill. I mean, we can teach the book and we can teach some things, but I could teach you to pass state board, but I can't teach some stuff. It's just hard. It's just hard. Attitudes it's just a hard thing to change. You have to want to change your attitude. You have to want to be a better person. You have to want to treat people kind, and that has to come from within. You have to want to live a better life. You have to, those are a want thing, and I got to get you to want to renew your mind, to change your will. You got to get someone to do that, and hopefully putting them in a space or an atmosphere where they feel safe. Because a lot of times people just don't feel safe. They don't want to let their guard down. And so giving them a safe place to be and to be able to rest their mind and rest in it, maybe that'll get better. But if I can find somebody in the middle where we can work with it, because I want skill level to be up. I want to grow from that, so we can teach on top of the skill that you have, so that we can grow from that place, and then you can multiply on top of that. I want to get you to let your shoulders down, so we can talk about some, because it's not that we're not counselors, but But hairdressers are, we can be some of the biggest counselors. But so we know that in this area, in this field, it comes with that. And so we know that there's some work that comes into working with the inner man. But we don't, but finding whole people is hard. And so doing a little bit of that work, it requires that too. So I just said, if we can group all of that and get all that together and squeeze all of that and get the best person out of that, that would be an ideal person.
Now I'm gonna pull on the uncle side of Jerry.
Okay.
The experience, the bounce back from the bankruptcy, the financially free, if you will, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to the student who feels like they're exactly what you're describing, exactly what you're looking for, but they like, Jerry, I want to, but I just can't afford it? What do you tell that student?
If you're everything I'm looking for, that means you can afford not to do it. So the way we've divided this thing up is, after you pay your down payment down, barber school, it's probably about $600 a month. College school is about $800 a month. That seems steep. It's $125, $150 a month, a week. That depends on if you live at home, if you don't, what other expenses you might have, may not have. If you're able to take a loan out of your own personal or what have you, because right now we're not accredited, which means we cannot receive financial aid from the government. It takes 2 years for us to do that, and we've already started that track to do that. Every school has to do it. It's just something that we have to go through, and we're going to do that. But at some point, you have to bet on yourself. I did it 30-some years ago. I paid as I went. I was a waiter at the Olive Garden. I lived at home, and I made tips. And so I think I just broke that thing up to a week. So if I told you, we said $600 a month, then you just make it smaller. Don't let that amount scare you. You just break it up. So you make it into 4 payments. We do like a firm, like those smaller how you can affirm. You didn't need a firm to go fly. You didn't need a firm to buy a bag. You didn't need a firm to do something else. Figure it out. Figure it out. If this means something to you and this is going to take care of your future and this is going to pay you and you're great and you can be great at it, figure it out. Figure it out. You have to want this more than you want the next thing. And it's just 1 year of your life. It's 1 year of school of your life. You decided not to go to college. You decided that this is what you want to do. A 4-year institution would have cost you way more than this. If you decide to go work at a factory, go work 3rd shift, come to school 1st shift. You're going to be hit. You're going to be tired. But when you get with your peoples, it's something going to wake you up. 2 hours going to kick your butt somewhere. I don't know. I don't have the secret sauce for everyone. But you got to figure it out. I worked, charged some of it, and then paid off the charge, worked, did it. It's one of those things where you just have to figure it out. And I'm not saying it's easy. We have programs that you can get a loan from. Well, it's like a loan. We have different programs where you can get money from, but it's basically you paying. But it's a how bad do you want it, and But if you know that you're called to do this and this is what you're supposed to do, this money gonna come back in your pocket faster than you think. And we just have to find another way to work while you go to school. And most people are working while they go to school. And if you have parents, spouse, any of those things, you got to lean on them. Family, this is when you got to lean. Tell them, give me a year to go to school real hard. I need your help. I'm going to need your help through this next year. Because it's going to be tough, but I'm going to make this work. And when I'm done, I'll return the favor.
Number one, we got to do a part two because we didn't hardly just tap into the wisdom I know you got for the entrepreneurs. Like, we gonna come back for that. But I want to focus on the school because number one, in Grand Rapids, this is major. Number two, as a black man, this is major. As a kingdom man, this is major. Mm-hmm. What do you want the legacy of your school to be when it's all said and done, when it's grown its legs and it's walking on without you, when you can finally hang your hat on the rack for the last time? What do you want the legacy of Reflections Barber and Beauty School to be?
Wow. Now that was probably the hardest question you gave me the whole day. I think the biggest thing that I've ever wanted to do is give back. I'm not a taker. I want Grand Rapids to know that I always wanted I wanted to leave a footprint bigger for people to realize that my goal was always to pour back into the lives of the people that I encountered. That I was a seed sower, but after I sowed a seed, I also watered the seed. So in the school, in the suites, in the relationships, that you knew that it was never about the money he was getting from me. I never felt like it was about the money. I felt like he was always trying to get me to be better than I was. Like he was always trying to take me to be the best me that I could be. That he was always telling me something that was going to lead me to the next space that was going to make me better. That all this stuff, that the life costs. There's a cost to everything we do, every decision that we make, whether it's good or bad or whatever. You're paying a cost. And there's a cost to be here. There's a cost to everything that we're doing. And so I want you to count up the cost even now, and that the time that we're wasting cost us, and the time that we're giving to something costs. But later on, the time that you get to spend with your family, you've paid a cost to have this time that's free because you paid for it. So that I invest in people's lives, and that I don't waste their time or their money. And so, but you're bigger than your money, and that I want to make sure that I leave you better than I found you, and that I invest in who you are, and that you matter. And that when you walk away, and that when I die, I want people to be like, damn, that was a hell of a guy. And that he really gave of himself to us, to this field, to us business people, that if I stopped and asked him something, if he made sure he poured, he gave seed to it, he poured and watered it as much as he can, and he wanted to see us all grow, and that it wasn't a selfish thing. It wasn't a selfish thing. Everything didn't come with a ticket. Everything didn't come with a price. Yeah, he made his money. Jeremiah gonna make his money, but everything didn't cost. It wasn't a cost like that. He believed in. It's gonna rain. He believed in giving, but he also believed in receiving. It's in my room. Yeah, that's it.
You sparked something else though,
What?
and how important is legacy to you? Meaning, how important is it how people remember you once they encounter you?
It's very big how people remember me. You know when you're eating something really good and the last taste you be like, that was so good. Oh, I can't wait to get that again. And that's how I want you to leave with me. I want you to be like, damn, he was so good and I can't wait to be in his presence again. I want your last impression of me to always feel like, I can't wait to be with that man again. I do. I never want to feel like I'm wasting anyone's time. And I always want to remember that I get to be with people. Not that I got to be with people. That God gave me the opportunity to get to do this. And because I get to do this, I wear it humbly and I'm thankful. And that's why I just be like, what, who, me? I get to do this, and I'm thankful that I get to do this. And when I look back over my life and the things and the stuff and the stuff and the things, I'm just thankful that I get to do this, and I get to make a difference in people's lives, and I get to share, and I get to do it with people that I love and love this field, and I get to make a difference and just change the lives of people. And not be fake in it. So, yeah, I get to do this.
Dope. Well, Jerry, it's been a pleasure. We gotta do a part two. We gotta make it happen. I will plug all your social media stuff in there. But I just want you to take this last 30 seconds to look right into this camera, and I want you to talk to that student on the other side of the screen, and I want you to tell them why they need to get their butt up here and sign up for this school. You've been expressing it so eloquently, but now I want you to give them Jerry.
So I don't know. I can't give you anything that I didn't give you. I just think there's a lot of schools in the city. I haven't been in all of them, so I can't really say why they're great and why they're not. I really don't. I'm not good at bad shaming anybody's stuff, because everybody's doing the best they can to do the best that they can. I believe that. But why you should be here is because I care. And I think I'm creating people that care about people, the whole person. And that's why I think you should be here. I care about the whole person. And we're gonna care about the whole person. And so hair is fantastic, and we're gonna make sure that part is great. We're gonna make sure that part is great, because that's what everyone's gonna do, because we're a barber and beauty school, and we're gonna make sure that's great. But the business aspect, what it looks like, how to do it, how to run a business, and I was looking at some stuff online. Y'all got to know a little bit more. It's got to be about more than just hair. How are we going to make it after we get out of school? How are we going to run a business? What does this look like? And how are we going to keep this engine running and all of that? And I think the whole person, how do we keep our well-being? How do we not go crazy? How do we balance this thing, work, life, home? It's just like I said, it's the whole person. And that's what I want to make sure. I want to make sure you graduate. I want to make sure you pass state board. But I want to make sure you show up with all of you there. And I care about who you are and that you make it and that you make it. And so maybe that's not what most schools think about. They're just thinking about you graduating and getting to state board. And maybe that's not what I'm not supposed to care about. But when I think about my school and what I'm trying to do, and truthfully, if there's 15, 20 people in this, in each class, 10 people, I got a number that I'm trying to reach, but I don't have to be what everybody else has got to be. I really don't. So God gonna take care of me regardless. I do need y'all up in this mug. Let's just be real. But I'm just saying, I want to make sure that the whole self is taken care of. And that's what we're trying to do. That's it, that's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremiah White.